Is this particular idea of what masculinity looks like ruining characters? Over the last handful of months, I keep running across examples where I found that I liked the book versions of male main characters or male love interests over their adaptation versions. And when I dig into it more, I realize it's because the book versions are softer, more feminine if you're basing on a scale of you're either feminine or toxic masculinity. And this came about, this whole thing I'm filming is because of a video essay I was watching about Phantom of the Opera. And if you have not read the book, it is a detriment. The book is magnificent. A lot of us have read the book, say it's better than the adaptations. And the creator of this video was talking about Raoul's character in the book and how, because he was raised by his aunt and sisters, he's much more feminine. He didn't become into more typical masculine pursuits and personality till later in his life. And you see it very different than his older brother, who is more the stereotypical masculine hero character. However, from the very first adaptation of the Phantom of the Opera, suddenly Raoul's given more masculine personality, more of a heroicness to him than we see in the book. But yeah, I like him in the book better. Though I will say the musical adaptation with like Gerard Butler and Patrick Wilson, he is still a lot more softer than like the Phantom, which is a running joke with me and my mother that like I liked Raoul where she liked the Phantom, and I liked Linton where she liked Heathcliff. Like I like those softer characters. And take a more recent example like the Hunger Games. Now the difference between Peeta in the movie and in the book is not huge, but it's there if you're looking at it. Like in the book, we see him doing a lot more feminine pursuits. He is more often on page shown painting, cooking, providing the household words, and Katniss is doing the role reverse. She's the more masculine, going out and hunting, for example, protecting. But not always. Like he still is masculine in times, but he has a softness to him. And I love book Peeta more than movie Peeta, even though I love Josh Hutcherson's portrayal of him. It's, I think, because the script took a lot of this away. And I keep seeing this trend of like the books having these softer masculine characters that could be great for us to advance societally. But then the movie and TV adaptations tweak them to become more stereotypically masculine, more heroic. And it's to their detriment. They become flatter. You lose more nuance to them in a lot of cases. And it can even have negative repercussions because like I read an essay for a different essay. I read like an academic essay for an essay I'm writing for my Substack. I've been slowly working on it for Wuthering Heights. And it's from the very first movie adaptation that Wuthering Heights then becomes way more romantic than it actually is. All of a sudden, it becomes more about the romance. It is literally being marketed by MGM as the greatest romance. And then that trickles down to Twilight in this essay I had read about how the portrayal of Wuthering Heights trickles all the way down to Twilight, and all of a sudden Edward's actions are not seen as the abuse it is. And the author of this academic essay I'd read points out, like Breaking Dawn, for example, if you look at just the text, the actions that happen on their honeymoon is very much would be categorized as abuse if you had read it out of context. But because we're in first person narrative and in Bella's head, she is leading us, gaslighting us almost to believe that, no, this is romantic. And we can partially blame that on the adaptations of Wuthering Heights convincing us that Heathcliff's actions is romantic. And that comes from more the adaptation versions. So, it's just fascinating to think about like how in books we are seeing more examples of more softer, nuanced men, but then the minute that become adapted for the screen, they get dwindled down and become flatter to be fit into this heroic masculine archetype that is desired. And is this part of the reason why we're pushing this particular narrative of what men should look like? And it's just like there's obviously this conversation is so nuanced, like I cannot dig into it, and this isn't a cause and effect, but this is just one like block in a huge tower around this construct, but it's just something that I want to talk about and think about. Is for me, I want to see more books with these nuanced, softer men, because there is also a lot of books where the male love interests are extremely toxic masculinity, where they're like, big, strong, but mean and abusive. And like, why? Like, I read a historical romance and I'm like, why is she falling in love with him? He is abusive and controlling and dictating what she can and cannot do. This isn't romantic in any way. And that came out recently. Like, it's I don't want to see characters like that. I don't want it seen pushed that way too, like in similar Twilight. And I'm saying this as someone who loves Twilight. And if you put it in front of me again, I will fall back in time and be exactly the same mind space and have a hard time getting back out of it. Like, I love Twilight, but it is gaslighting you almost into believing this abusive relationship is romantic. And I think we really need to have a conversation about how we paint romantic love in books. And, another example is Colleen Hoover. I'm rambling, but I would love to know your opinion about this. And if you have other male characters that fit this, for example, another recent one is Wendell from Emily Wilde's Encyclopedia Fairy. I'm absolutely obsessed with him, and that's because he has a lot more softness to him. He's more feminine compared to other male characters. So, what are your favorites?